This is our country, not yours. Piss off.
I love
Goodbye.
I thought it was going PG for a minute there, but then
it. To have you on, my friend.
I got a question. I was listening to this. He calls it a fake report. When I mentioned in the super chat about debunking the tattoos, I still don't know why he has not been sued. And the second of all is, how is this getting away from everybody? Like, are you, not you particular, in America, how are you guys so stupid? Like, what the fuck? Sorry.
Well, watch the language. Watch
you guys.
Watch the language.
What's wrong? What's your language?
I think there's a lot.
Problem?
So I think there's multiple problems here. And Leonard, if I'm missing anything, please let me know.
well, they probably don't have the money to start with to initiate a lawsuit.
Yeah, that could be. I think a lot of these people are very ill-informed and uneducated. And I think.
I get that. I get that, and it's been like, and not to put you're intelligent. You guys are intelligent, but all the right-wing nut jobs out there, you just follow the money. That's all you do is grift, and they go off the rage, the hate, and that's why Canada here, we had to go for a 2-tier system. Normally they go for 4, but we had to, collaborate with everybody to make sure the conservatives here in Canada didn't win, because he has the same talking points as Trump. He is the Trump light.
Hold
They
on.
didn't win thanks to
Hold on. Mr. Canada, Mr. Canada, are you trying to say that you're not going to be the 51st state? Is that what you're trying to say, sir?
Exactly. Exactly what Carney said. That's why I back Carney.
He won on a landslide.
Because Carney will defend. Because if Pierre Poilievre would have won, he says in his last tweet, stay out of again, he would have folded like a freaking wet napkin and sold us out to the freaking American, not to you, but to Trump and everybody else, and I would have lost my goddamn mind. I actually had to leave work today. I had a big argument with my boss. He's a huge Trump fan. I'm like, why? Well, he's a businessman. Okay, yeah, I explained to him he lost 3 casinos. One's about to go down, and the market has crashed. Oh, well, the market is good. And I'm like, no, it's not. Look at the stocks.
I want to ask you one more question, Mr. Canada, before we let you go here. If you had the opportunity, it's got to be PG-13 for radio purposes. But if you were in a room with Donald Trump right now, what would you say to him?
Oh, man, I can't say it. I can't. I can't.
Try. Our listeners want to know. Try, but PG-13.
Step down.
Yeah.
Get out of our country. Stay out of our business. This is our country, not yours. Piss off.
I love it.
I thought it was going PG for a minute there, but then
piss off. I like it.
Love you, Brian. I'll talk to you soon. I'll continue supporting you.
Thank you,
Canada.
Thank you, Mr. You're the best, Mr. Canada. Piss off. I love to hear a Canadian say that. That's
we were
great.
G, and then we kind of went into PG. So.
I like Mr. Canada. Thanks for the call, my friend. I appreciate you. I think Trudeau would have held somebody accountable, and heads would have rolled, and people would have lost their jobs, and they wouldn't have lied about it either. They're lying 100%. About it. Let's go to Vancouver, Canada, and Ryan calling. Hey, Ryan, what's going on?
Hey, echo the comments of your last couple of callers, but here's the thing. I was recently retired as a senior executive in the public safety and security establishment in Canada. And one of my roles during the 2010 Olympics was, very high up in the integrated security chain. And I had, of course, the highest security clearance Canada can offer. And through the Olympics, I actually ended up having an American security clearance as well. And I've got to tell you, if any of these people remain in their posts after a breach like this, then the clown car is just absolutely off the rails.
Yeah, and you reminded me of something else, and I agree with you. What about Donald Trump taking the security clearances away from somebody like a Hillary Clinton, for example? I mean, he's so vindictive, and he's not willing to put personal differences aside for someone's security and well-being. I mean, it's sick. The man is sick.
And the pretzel backbreaking work that the Republicans are doing right now to try and minimize this is just astounding. It is honestly astounding. And if it was the other side, in either of our countries, the other side would be screaming at the top of their lungs, and the hypocrisy is deafening. It's just crazy.
It is absolutely deafening and crazy. And can you imagine if something like this happened in Canada, where you had this type of I don't know, signal group chat situation happening, where a journalist in Canada, I mean, what do you think Trudeau would have done? I mean, you think Trudeau would have just made excuses like Donald Trump did? No, they would have. I think Trudeau would have held somebody accountable, and heads would have rolled, and people would have lost their jobs, and they wouldn't have lied about it either. They're lying
100%.
about it. If it's as if it's not only terrible that this happened to begin with, and the stupidity of whoever's responsible for this, what makes it even arguably worse is the fact that they're lying about it, if they're not taking responsibility
100%.
for it. Yeah.
Because if any of them remember going through their security clearance process, it isn't about being a saint. It's about telling the truth and being able to accept accountability. You know, you tell them all sorts of crappy stuff you've done in your life during that polygraph. They don't care. They don't judge. They just want you to tell them the truth. And when you screw up afterwards, your main job is to just be accountable. Oh my God, I totally screwed that up. I need to, fix that, et cetera, et cetera. And generally, you're not in a lot of trouble. But the minute you start lying about it and doing all of this stuff, this just gets it right off the rails.
I agree.
They have sewered themselves.
I agree. They've compounded it and made it even worse, my friend. Stay safe out there in Vancouver. Go Canucks, hey?
Hey, how are you? How are you, Brian? I'm doing fine. And to your question that you asked in the beginning of taking calls,
yep.
You said who was the hero in the press conference? Zelenskyy was the hero 200%. Okay, he was the bigger man in the room. Okay, and the other people in that room were not leveling to his ankle.
Is that the sentiment I get from most Canadians that have the same take on as yours?
I hope you will.
Yeah.
Because mine is that. Zelenskyy was the man in the room.
Has Trudeau spoken publicly his thoughts on that meeting?
I didn't see it.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I cannot.
I know he was
that,
was at the meeting over the weekend. I know he was there over the weekend with Zelenskyy.
No, I know. Yeah, I know too, and I'm pretty sure he was there to support Ukraine, because that's the national feeling here, that we are behind Ukraine 200% as well. And, and the part you saw also that when someone said he doesn't wear a suit, Zelenskyy, okay? If you remember in history, okay, when Winston Churchill, okay, went to the United States, okay, to basically meet the president there, okay, he wasn't wearing a suit then. Because why? He was in war. And that's the reason why he didn't wear a suit.
Isn't it interesting, Claude, that this is what they are focusing on? They are focusing, on what, and when I say they, I mean the right wingers. They're focusing on what Zelenskyy was wearing, right? He was wearing a tie, or he wasn't wearing a tie, and he should be wearing a tie. They're not focusing on the fact that Putin invaded Ukraine. They're not focusing on the fact that they're going to give Putin everything that he wants, which is to make sure that UK doesn't enter NATO and to give them land that he can take over. They're not focusing on thousands and thousands of innocent people that have lost their lives. No, some moron who's banging butch bod is focused on the fact that Zelensky's not wearing a suit, and all the MAGA morons out there are salivating over the question as if that matters. It's so absurd. And if you want to talk about decorum, what about when Joe Biden did his State of the Union and you had idiots like Lauren Boebert and Marjorie Taylor Greene wearing Make America Great Again hats and pinned up everywhere, looking like the clowns that they are. But all of a sudden, decorum doesn't matter during the State of the Union. But if Vladimir Zelenskyy, who's facing war right now, isn't wearing a tie, somehow they have a big problem with that. It's so absurd. I want to go to back-to-back callers in Canada. Let's go to Yvonne. Yvonne is also calling from Canada. Hi, Yvonne.
Hi, Brian. Claude was totally right about the fact that Churchill didn't was wearing military gear as well. But my thought was about the meeting. J.D. Vance said, "You need to thank us." Why the heck would Zelenskyy thank J.D. Vance and Trump when J.D. Vance voted against funding Ukraine, and Trump actually froze the military aid that was already appropriated to go to Ukraine. It doesn't make sense to me at all.
It doesn't make sense to me either. Here's the only thing that I could say, okay? I know that Donald Trump seems to side with and looks up to evil, murderous dictators. We all know that, that's for sure. I think that Putin has something else on him. There's got to be something else going on there because Trump will never call him a dictator. Trump will never say he started the war. There's something that Putin has on Donald Trump, and I don't know what it is, but we'll have to get down to the bottom of it. Maybe we'll never find out. I don't know. But the only way to make sense out of this is to say Trump sides with evil dictators because I think that's something he wants to be. He wants to be a king and he wants to be a dictator, but it ain't going to happen as far as when I'm living in this country. Hopefully it's not going to happen, but that's what he wants.
There is information out there that Trump was recruited by the KGB back in the 80s. So I'm sure that's going to be coming to the forefront soon.
It very well might be, ma'am. And I really do appreciate your call. You're not going to be the 51st state. Trudeau is not going to let Donald Trump walk all over him. And most of the world sides with Zelenskyy and Ukraine.